And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all those aspects affecting the various sections of our people. Beth was the Ijaw country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at Government College, Ujeli. And
go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, the Songo camp, you don't compensate everybody.
In its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbo Dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are eventful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures and no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.
Good day. Thank you very much for talking to people, places and events, and to the African Center for Community and Development.
It's my pleasure.
What is your name?
My name is Divine Ewane.
And who are you?
I'm actually the team leader of an NGO called Empowerment. I'm also the CEO of Empowerment Mobile Telecommunications Technologies.
Wow.
The organization was set up by a group of Cameroonians, and when I resigned from my previous organization, they came to me and asked me to take the job and gave me a 10-year mandate to turn the organization around.
So what are the line of activities that you engage in this organization?
Yes. Our main focus is wealth creation and consolidation. And we do this in 3 thematic areas. First, forest and agriculture. Secondly, responsible citizenship. And thirdly, idea development and facilitation.
Okay. So far, you've been engaged in some projects. What are the projects that you've engaged as an organization and some of the partners that you have engaged with?
You know, as I said, the organization itself, I think it's good to give its brief history. The organization itself was created in 2000 and approved in 2003. But since approval, its activities were not really very strong. And up to 2007, when I took over the organization, the then team leader had a scholarship to Belgium, and I was asked to run the organization. And then since then, the organization has been doing quite some activities. We have in the area of forest and agriculture. In 2007, we did a research and wrote a paper on the importance of forest on poverty alleviation. We will try to answer a question whether the forest of the Central African region of the Congo Basin are a source of wealth or a source of poverty to the local people. And we took the example of the Mount Cameroon forest area where we have been working. And in our documentation, in our findings, we asserted that forests are actually a source of wealth for the people. But then, the way that exploitation is going on and in various interests and intrigues, it can become a source of poverty because many people who get money from to implement forest projects do not actually make that money to trickle down to the local population, and as such the local population is exploited and they continue to exploit forests. Also, conservation efforts are leading even to deaths of people, like the gorillas around the Munyenge area have killed more than 4 people now, and these are things that are not also positive. So what we are saying is that while the local people continue to suffer the loss of the major losses from forest, the major gains are people working for international organizations who make projects and take the money and stash the money back, while the local people...
Why do they stash the money back? Because they bring in experts, and the chunk of the project money goes back to the countries that, or the organizations that did sponsor the project.
Yes, that is partly the real problem, because most of the money is used to pay expatriates, whereas the components that go to the local people are generally very small. I can give you an experience. I implemented a project. It was a regional project on cane rat domestication. I think then you know when I was running that project. But if you look at the whole budget, it was an EU-funded project. If you look at the whole budget, what actually trickled down to the local people was very, very small compared to what remained to the big implementing organizations. So those are the kinds of things that we are saying. So forest can be a source of wealth to the local people if policies are made to reflect that the money for forest funding, which we strongly consider as a non-timber forest product. We consider forest funding as an important non-timber forest product. If that money is truly invested in the local population, then it can have an impact, and it can make forest to be a source of wealth and not a source of poverty for local people.
So you're saying that funding should be put in focus for it to be sustainable. Now, what other areas of activities have you also engaged in terms of your organization, and what are the problems you face as a non-governmental organization?
Yeah, okay. Another area still in the forest area has been the area of rubber. We are trying to focus on the development of timber latex clones for farmers, because previously most of our rubber in Cameroon, is just used as firewood, and after people exploit the latex, they burn the rubber as firewood. But there are actually timber latex clones which can actually be used as sawn wood after the latex has been exploited. So we are presently focusing on that. We are working with IRAD to see how we can propagate timber latex clones for the local population.
Thank you very much for talking to the African Center for Community and Development, and to people, places and events.
Thank you very much.
And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all those aspects affecting the various sections of our team. Beth was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at Government College, Ujeli. And
go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, Songo camp, you don't compensate everybody.
In its degeneration sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbar Dancer.
Some lives are meaningful.
Some are empty.
Lives that are eventful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures and no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.